Inside Out 2. Released June 14th, 2024. Directed by Kelsey Mann. Written by Meg LaFave, Dave Hallstein, and Kelsey Mann. Starring Amy Poehler, Maya Hawke, and Kensington Tallman. Rotten Tomatoes score, 93%. Metacritic, 73. IMDb, 8. Welcome back to Real Reviews like always. I am your host, Lee. Today we are discussing Inside Out 2, the sequel to the 2015 Inside Out. The original Inside Out stands out to me in two ways. First, it is rare to get a compelling movie about emotions and how they drive us, and two, the movie works just as well if you cut out all the inside portion. This one certainly feels like it took the same recipe as the last and added more, for better or worse. The simple portion of this is that if you like the first, you will probably enjoy this one. It is appropriate for all ages, with jokes set up for anyone who might watch it. But hey, let's talk about it. From this point on, you can expect spoilers, but let's get the simple things out of the way. Maya Hawke does a great job. Actually, all of the actors and actresses do a stellar job, but I expect no less in a Pixar movie. The animation is also spectacular, down to being able to see some of the tiny particle details on the emotions. Again, this is expected. But let's get to questions.
How does Inside Out 2 expand on the concept of emotional complexity introduced in the first film? Are new emotions introduced, and how are they personified?
I think it does a great job of not only acknowledging that as you grow, your emotions become more and more complex, but also that they can feel like a combination of other emotions or just slightly different. Anxiety and joy both try to keep Riley happy. That is their goal, but they have wildly different methods. Outside of the emotions introduced in the trailer and the original 5, the only other new one is nostalgia, who is introduced as a joke.
How are the relationships between the emotions inside Riley's head depicted in the sequel? Are there any significant changes or developments in their dynamics?
The original 5 emotions work as a team, each knowing when the other should step in for the benefit of Riley. The new 4 emotions don't really work as a team. Anxiety is pretty much completely in control. That is likely going to feel real for many people. Of the new emotions, the only other super vocal one is envy, but they don't really take control so much as point out things. Ennui and embarrassment don't do a lot aside from short scenes or jokes.
Are there specific scenes or sequences that stand out for their creative depiction of psychological concepts? How do these scenes enhance the understanding of the film's themes?
One of the joys of the first movie was how they can take turns of phrase like train of thought and make it literal and funny at the same time. This movie does much the same, the sarcasm or the brainstorm. These are honestly pretty great when they are there. It also does a great job with dealing with secrets with a vault, or how as you grow the important things to you change and some diminish as others grow.
How does Inside Out 2 balance humor and drama? Is this balance effective in conveying the film's deeper messages about emotional health and maturity?
This movie does a pretty good job with the humor, while mostly being a more serious movie than the last. They don't shy from making a joke. After all, Riley is a teen and they do goofy things. Also for us, the audience, some scenes that would not be great for Riley are funny for us because we get it. This movie conveys a very strong and important message for everyone and can be valuable to anyone. Our emotions may shape our actions, but they don't make us who we are.
Reflecting on the film as a whole, what could be its potential impact on audiences, particularly young viewers, in terms of understanding and discussing emotions?
I think this movie could possibly help a lot of people. In your teens and early 20s, it feels like your emotions have complete control over you, and as you look back on how you acted, you want to hide from the world wondering how you could have done the things that you did. But acknowledging that your emotions don't make you who you are, and that it is okay to have emotions could help a lot of people. Mental health is a wild and complex thing, but sometimes having a story really hit us makes us more self-aware of how we are doing and what we could do better. That is it for questions. You may have picked up in my answers that I think this movie is pretty dang great. Let's get into the why of it all. The simple story of this movie, without giving too much away, is that Riley is experiencing her last summer with her best friends before they have to go to different high schools. Riley has to contend with the concept of making new friends so she can succeed without the friends that won't be in school with her anymore, and anxiety takes control. It is such a great story that I think will resonate with many people, even if the setting of a hockey skills camp doesn't. Many kids and almost every adult knows what it is like to lose friends and how hard it can be to make new friends in the process. And they go through so many important things about growing up, like it not being healthy to hide all of your bad memories because they contribute to who you are just as much as the good ones. Or how as we grow we might feel less joy, or how when anxiety takes control it can feel like an overwhelming and all-consuming force that doesn't let any other emotions reach you. A kid might not cry during this movie, but adults will. It acknowledges so many things about growing up that maybe we lost sight of. This movie has great pacing, but that often isn't an issue in a movie targeted at kids. There are maybe a few scenes that you could miss for the sake of a bathroom break, but it is a pretty tight 96 minutes, and they make good use of it. One thing I think some may struggle with is that there really isn't an antagonist. Anxiety isn't the villain. Anxiety is just trying to protect Riley from the future by trying to plan for everything. One line that I think is pretty great is anxiety saying that she is like fear. Fear tries to protect Riley from physical things, and anxiety tries to protect Riley from non-physical things. And this is true. Do I think this movie is perfect? No, of course not. Do I think this movie is better than the first? In some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. I do highly recommend watching this movie. While I don't think that many teens will go out to see this movie, it is one that would benefit them. Many people could get some important messages from this movie that could help them. Maybe you don't see it in theaters due to cost or time, but watch it when it is streaming. So I gave this movie a 7 out of 8, or an 8.75 out of 10. This is completely on a technicality, but I will hold to it. This movie has no real antagonist, so that doesn't really work. I could easily say that it doesn't matter and give it a 7 out of 7, but I am determined to rate movies on the same scale to keep it even. Like always, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. I typically have 2 videos out per week, either real reviews like this or AI reviews depending on release schedules. Next week will probably be AI reviews. Until next time,